Well, good morning, dear friends. Hello to those of you joining us on YouTube and Facebook and Ustream. And to the Zoom crowd. Such lovely... You got me, David. Such lovely familiar faces from the every morning broadcast during the week. If any of you are new, my name is Robert Beatty, and I'm the founder and guiding teacher of the Portland Insight Meditation Community in the West Coast, Portland. And we have all of our teaching now, myself and all the other teachers, it's all online. And if you go to portlandinsight.org, you can find links to everything that's happening. And it's a lot. It's quite remarkable, wonderful how we pulled that off. And that's also where you can go if your heart moves you and you wish to make a contribution to keep these broadcasts and the center going. And the center awaits us. I was there a couple of times this week, 3 times actually, working in my office, and I'm struck by the beauty of the place. It's just such a fine place. So today's itinerary is a poem, singing the refuges, and then a guided meditation, and then Jim Dalton will do some Qigong conscious movement and some announcements in there briefly. And then I'm going to give a talk on the Bodhisattva and on using this time to really open our hearts to each other and to the world and to reality. So there's a little poem here I came across years ago. It's Anicca, Impermanence by Gary Rosenthal. Somehow we're in prison. A prison without walls. I'm going to start again. There. So Anicca by Gary Rosenthal. Somehow we're in a prison without walls. Some of the inmates are Buddhists lined up to be photographed by some kind of hologram camera, a device capable of revealing our previous incarnations. To get the focus right, they turn it on an outer wall of a hamburger joint in San Francisco. You see layers removed, a succession of different colors of paint. Images of painted hamburgers advertised with progressively lower prices, till there's just a bare slice of wood, then a raindrop, then a cloud, an aggregate of dancing molecules whirling into forms. You can see what was true of the wall must be true of you. Incredible, you keep saying, incredible. And then you wake up. Anicca by Gary Rosenthal. Somehow we are in prison, a prison without walls. Some of the inmates are Buddhists lined up to be photographed by some kind of hologram camera, a device capable of revealing our previous incarnations. To get the focus right, they turn it on an outer wall of a hamburger joint in San Francisco. You see layers removed, a succession of different colors of paint. Images of painted hamburgers advertised with progressively lower prices, till there's just a bare slice of wood, then a raindrop, then a cloud, an aggregate of dancing molecules whirling into forms. You can see what was true of the wall must be true of you. Incredible, you keep saying, incredible. And then you wake up. So I keep hearing stories of COVID times, COVID-19 times. At any given moment, I read one time, there are between 2 and 3 million people on the trains in India. I've been on those trains. It was a long time ago, 50 years ago actually. I was riding with steam engines, but there were a lot of people and a lot of trains. They're parked, part of social distancing, but they're also using those trains as hospital bed spaces. I heard a story about the impact on homeless people of this COVID crisis, and sex workers all over the world. And every story I hear touches me more and more deeply of how this truly is a pandemic. It's affecting everyone, everywhere. It shows our interconnection with each other. And the disruption that's happening in people's lives is simply humongous. And it points out the fact that everything really is impermanent, that all these social structures, these financial structures we rely upon, are all temporary. They're contingent. So where can we possibly take refuge? And the tradition says, the Buddhist tradition says, take refuge in being awake. Take refuge in the truth, in the fact that everything is impermanent. Take refuge in the truth of dukkha, the unsatisfactoriness of living. And take refuge in the community of practice, the community of all life, the lineage of those who brought these teachings down from the time of the Buddha in an unbroken string from teacher to student, to Lady Sayadaw, to Uba Khin, to Ruth Denison, blessedly, and to me. I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and love. Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community of mindful harmony. Namo Sanghaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Sanghaya. How shall we make our way lovingly, kindly, mercifully, compassionately through this time of great turmoil. One of our primary tools must be to touch the place in ourselves, to open to awaken the place in ourselves where there isn't being freaked out, where there isn't fear or anxiety, where there is the deep knowing that fundamentally we're okay. Because fundamentally we are that which doesn't change. We are that in which all change occurs. So that can seem like a tall order, can't it? Maybe even, quote, I couldn't possibly do that. But it is right here. It's through being right here, in this moment, that we awaken. So where do you find yourself right now? I'm in my comfy tent, in my backyard, surrounded by the crows, surrounded by so much life. There's a little dog lying outside the door where he always lies. Oh, here he comes. You saw me open the door. Oh, now he's come in. Come here. Hey. Come here. Come here. Oh, God. Here's Budo. Hi, everybody. This is Budo the therapy dog. He's a wild creature. Good boy. All right. He doesn't like to sit up here on my lap. So let us do the ancient ritual of stopping. Let's stop. Just reminded me of a story. I think I told this in the last few weeks. In the mornings, the story of Angulimala, the highwayman, highway robber, who in the Buddha's time, who robbed people, and then he cut off their thumbs, and he had a necklace of 99 thumbs, which is the Angulimala meaning. And the Buddha heard of this terrorist, basically, and he went and confronted him. And as he approached this Angulimala saw that this was not an ordinary person. And he said, "Go back, Wanda, go back, Sadhu, go back. I don't want to hurt you. You must stop." And the Buddha replied, "I, Angulimala, have already stopped. It is you who must stop." And he did. And he became a disciple of the Buddha and an awakened being. And his life was not all sweetness and light, however, because whenever he went into villages to get his alms round food, people threw stones at him. So he had some payback that had to happen, karmically. But he did stop. So let's stop and sit. Here, now. You can have your eyes open or closed, doesn't matter. Let yourself rest back into the present moment. Let your shoulders relax, soften. Let your face soften. Let your tummy, your gut muscles soften. Anywhere that you find where the body is holding tight, Bring awareness into that and just relinquish it. This is a moment of safety, of ease, of letting down the guard. Notice that your body is breathing. Each breath has a beginning, so why not be present for it? There's an expansion of the chest and abdomen, and then a contraction. There are sensations at the nostrils as the air comes and goes. Pick one of these. Dive in, become intimate with breathing. Holding this breath, and in fact your entire life experience, in a gentle, soft, forgiving heart. You may well discover that the mind has a lot of centrifugal energy. It's jumping into the past or creating a future in imagination. Maybe it has some emotions running. Feeling the emotions in your chest and abdomen, your heart. Our purpose really isn't to change anything. It's to actually just be here and be awake. Things do change in our lives, in our personality even, as we meditate over time. But in the moment, our task is to love everything, to allow there to be room for everything and anything. You may notice the mind wandering into the 5 hindrances, into desire and wanting, or aversion and wanting not, disliking. You might notice it wandering into anxiety, into worry, into the mind jumping around restless and agitated. Or you might run into sleepy dullness, sloth and torpor, or doubt. But don't make a problem of these. These are just the normal mind unfolding. And the most is simply to be aware they exist and then to allow them to pass away. as you come home to yourself, to the body breathing. Here in my little spot, the sun has come out and the tent suddenly has shot up 20 degrees in temperature. There's warmth, brightness. Noticing temperature in your body. Where is it warm? Where is it cold? Where is it not really decided neutral? Cultivating a mind that is so spacious it can include everything that arises. Each time the mind awakens to the wandering mind, each time consciousness is illuminated with mindfulness. That's the path. That's the royal road. It's not far away. It's always right here. Sitting in meditation is an ultimate form of self-care. With love and compassion, we study the self. We observe how it's created, how it suffers, how it can stop suffering. We prepare ourselves for taking our place in the world with intentions to act lovingly and compassionately. So when you can, dear friends, please inhabit the body. Anytime you wish to bring your practice into perfect balance, simply remember the teaching from Ajahn Chah. This moment is like this. This is how it is. This is the experience of this moment. Rest back in the arms of love. Lie back in the arms of love. Rest back in the arms, you are safe from harm. Lie back in the arms of love. Goes a chant by... Her name is escaping me. Rest back into the beauty of your being in this moment. If there is painfulness, anxiety, fear, loneliness, confusion, open to that. It's not personal, ultimately. If there's ease, love, compassion, clear-mindedness, open to that. Open to what is. Allowing the resistance, the demand for things to be different, to cool out. Let the suffering fade away for a while. On the one hand, we are using concentration with the breath as a home base to concentrate the mind and to provide some tranquility, to suppress the hindrances. On the other hand, we are in the arms of sweet, loving awareness, which notices things. With this awareness, noticing, awakening to the various ways the mind is torturous to us, it would seem as though we have the free will to choose something else, to be attentive to something other than a worry or a pain in the body, to abide in the ease of simply resting in the breath. Now, of course, the body, the mind may be agitated or struggling with wanting something or not wanting something. But that too, we just sweep into the arms of loving mindfulness. And we learn to consciously suffer whatever's going on. And in that, we learn how to cease suffering. We learn the almost alchemical trick of relinquishing the suffering through accepting how things are right now. To the degree we let go of the self's demand for things to be different, we rest in ease. We rest in interconnection. In observing thoughts coming and going, where do they come from? Where do they go? In the magnificent expression of life that is your body, this cloud of sensations, it's known, it's held in awareness. Where is that awareness? It's non-local, it simply is. Allowing awareness to be present with the breath and everything else that happens. And as we have sat now for a little while, you may be discovering some tension or fatigue in your body. A central part of our practice is to bear with these transient or even chronic pains, to use them to train ourselves to be prepared for riding the life of the human being on the earth, the vicissitudes of pleasure and pain and gain and loss and security and insecurity and health and sickness. These polarities come through our lives with absolutely no control upon them. Where we have influence is, how does this mind respond to them? Can I bring the qualities of a bodhisattva to bear? Loving, compassionate, wise, patient, not overly attached to results. And please now notice the intention to allow your eyes to open, to notice the preparation and then the intention to act, and then the effort of pulling the eyelids open. Seeing, aware of seeing. Objects, it's a complicated world of objects. And then please let our hands arise in the Anjali, in the prayer position. And then maybe do the spider doing push-ups on a mirror practice. Closing and opening. Mindfully acting. One of the things that Ruth taught us was, when you simply can't sit in meditation, make something up. Make it the spider on the mirror and do this for 10 minutes very attentively. Opening, squatting down, and feel the contact of your palms when they touch. Opening, and then we could get really exciting and dramatic and let the baby finger come apart, and then the fourth, and then the middle and index and the thumbs, and then back together in the opposite order, touching, 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 touching. May we share our merits with Ruth Denison, she who changed my life so much and the lives of so many thousands of people for the good. So, letting your hands find their way down. A brief moment of announcements. Yes, the top one in my remembrance is my class, an 8 Wednesday night class on the Dhammapada, very succinct, beautiful teachings of the Buddha, begins next Wednesday night. And it'll be a relatively small group, 15 to 20 people, I think. And there will be assignments ahead of time of which of the stanzas to read and then to prepare. And we have 2 different translations and maybe more. And it's intended as a practice group, so that one reads a stanza or 2 and then takes it out into the world and lives that. So the instructions for compassionate and loving and awakening living are refreshed every day. And for that, you can go onto the portlandinsight.org website and sign up. And there's a class also with Doug Pullen's doing a class on opening the heart, the 4 Brahma Viharas: love, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. And Gary Sanders is doing a class on the 4 foundations of mindfulness. So there's enough to keep you busy. And also they request, feel into your heart. How important are these teachings to you? I'm in such a privileged position. I get to see almost daily, I get some email or something from someone who says, the Dharma has changed my life. PIMC has changed my life. I'm really relying on PIMC during this crisis because I'm so isolated. And that's there because we support it. And so to feel into your heart and to make some contribution financially to PIMC, which you can do by going to the portlandinsight.org website and follow the links. So that's that. If you're not on the listserv or the constant contact list, I invite you to do that again via the website. So Jim, you're prepared to do a little movement, mindful movement this morning, I think. Oh, you're standing there. Cool.
During this last couple of weeks, I've gotten much more equipment, so my little room is expanded because of the way I set it up. So would you like to do some Qigong? People can stand or just do the arm movements sitting. The pattern we followed Sundays for years was called Shibashi 1. You can find that on YouTube and see the whole thing. It's got 18 steps to it. But we'll do the first half today, standing or sitting upright. And if you're standing, sinking into your knees and become aware of the contact between the bottoms of the feet and the floor, moving back and forth. Notice how your feet accommodate this simple movement by changing where the engagement is in the tendons and muscles of the feet, the calf, the knee, and the hips. Just moving a few inches, the whole body has to figure out a puzzle. Now we're going to sink and let the arms rise. And now we have 8 or 10 pounds out in front of us. And so the feet have to engage a little differently to make sure we're balanced and upright. Our head is above our tailbone. There's a simple movement. You can do it in a chair or you can do it standing, but the shoulders feel so liquid, flexible. When you go slowly, you can feel all the new angles and adjustments. Simply lifting your arms, resisting gravity. There's a little bit of effort. Then on the exhale, there's a total surrender to gravity. And then this time lifting again, opening the chest. Feel the rib cage change shape, change sensations. And breathing out as you relax down, lifting gently, but then spreading the ribs. Bringing them back, bringing your arms back to the center, and relaxing the ribs. Lifting, opening, returning to the center, and sinking. This time reaching overhead. You can't see my hands, but I'm just extending upward and then making an arc, painting a rainbow. My hands are soft. Shoulders are soft, the elbows are soft, the hips are moving away from the hands. The hands go left, the hips go right. The hands go right, the hips go left. But feel the bottoms of your feet. They anchor differently when you're here than when you're over here. So much intelligence in the body. Relaxing down, crossing the wrists, coming up the center, turning the palms over and opening to separate clouds. So the names of the moves help us imagine the flow of energy up and out, separating the clouds. It's a gentle image.
Hi, sweetie.
It creates a feeling of gentleness and ease in the body. So the sensations and the mood
my Sunday
are connected. Deliberately slowing down,
Yeah.
easing into this position, turning, easing into this position,
With you.
releasing.
How's your new place?
But you can also use your intention to build up energy. Lifting both arms up, pushing with one and pulling with the other. The mood changes. A lot more agency, a lot more purposefulness.
sweetie?
Once we have the chi flowing, we can put it to work. Almost like we're swimming.
Did you sleep on the plane?
And then relaxing down, opening the shoulders, feeling the flexibility, feeling the smoothness of the joints in both shoulders, as much as is comfortable for you. Don't overdo. Just find the middle path between relaxed arms and effortless movement.
Okay, good for you. All right, I gotta go, sweetie. I love you.
All right. So that was the first half. We were just moving up and down. Now we're going to reach across and feel the weight in one leg and lift the heel on the other side. And if you're in a chair, just stick one heel out to support your weight over there and support your weight over here. Because you're moving the center of gravity out from the center of the chair, so you need a little brace underneath. But we're twisting the spine, we're relaxing the hips, looking over the shoulder, gazing at the moon. We're resisting gravity as we lift, and then we relax. There's no attachment to the form. We call it gazing at the moon, but we don't spend the whole time gazing. We move into that gesture, and then we let it go. Anicca, impermanent. The gesture is not just here, it's down here. It's not down here all the time, it's up here. So the flow takes us from one impermanent sub-gesture to another. Let's press across. Feel the feet. When you get your arm out extended, that foot has to engage. It knows how to do that. You just gently stretch, and the intelligence of the body keeps you upright and relaxed. Flowing into this corner, flowing into this corner. Now, my favorite move, bringing one hand across, focusing at the palm of the hand is facing you. Let the other palm face the earth. Draw both hands across the center line. Feel the hips, readjusting, pausing. The hands move, everything else is still, and then coming back the other way. The focus is on the upper hand. We think of that as a cloud moving across the sky, and how we think about it changes our mood. Following a cloud across the sky has a certain kind of mood with it. But then the other hand is in touch with the earth. We're grounded. one hand in the sky, one hand on the earth. There's a mood connected with being grounded and being stable, being connected to the earth. Our eyes are focused, but our awareness holds both images, the cloud, the earth, and the space between. The awareness is open and loving. Loving awareness. Loving the cloud, loving the earth, loving this body. It's embodying our interrelationship with the earth, our interrelationship with the sky. All right, come back. And relax the arms down, surrendering to gravity. Feel the effects in the body from all this smooth, easy movement. It's a calming, but it's a river of calmness. It's a lot of sensation. The whole body hums. So we feel the life in the stillness. Then we sink, and we feel the life reaching up to the sky, drawing the energy down to the crown, down the spine, into the feet, reaching up, connecting with the sky, down through the crown, down the spine, into the feet. Once more. And bringing your hands together. Thankfulness for another opportunity to practice. Thank you very much. Got to remember how to turn this off. Mute.
Thank you, dear Jim. Is this sound okay? Yep. Thank you, Christy. I'm going to try an experiment. There's a YouTube video of Joanna Macy that I want to share with you, and then do a guided meditation. And I'm going to try something I experimented just a little bit with. I'm going to pull the camera, not the camera for the Zoom, but the camera for YouTube, and take a video of my screen and see if that will work. And I think I'll let the video speak for itself. How to do this. Jim, will you text me if it just is not working? I can't be sure from here. Would have been good to try it before, wouldn't it? But here we go. Trying this. Whoops, not that. Go back. Why is it not there? Here we go. Here we go.
Diets and practices that help us give our best response to the crisis of sustainability unfolding in our
I'm
world.
not
Just a minute.
One of the core insights is that our ability to respond.
Not sharing it yet. This is the prophecy of the Shambhala warrior. Aha, looks good.
Is shaped by the stories.
Sound is a little
into our
muffled.
View of reality. If we want to be empowered and inspired, we need stories that
That
are
better?
empowering and inspiring.
No,
So here Joanna
it's not
tells
better.
us
Okay.
both draw strength from.
So that is not going to work. I think what I will do is send out the link. Let me come back from stop share. It was a good last minute idea that didn't work. So this is, fix that camera. This is an unusual time. Almost everywhere on the planet, people are faced with this novel virus. This isn't an unusual experience for the planet or for humans, however. There have been probably countless pandemics before. There have been recently earthquakes, volcanoes, car accidents, economic crises. It's normal for us humans to have our way of life be disrupted radically, even to the point of dying. But when it when it happens, it's we take it very seriously, because it is very serious. It's our child or ourselves who falls ill. It's our family that can't find enough food. The food banks are running out of money, so it's a worthy place for us to donate at this point. So the question is, how should we face this? How should we use this perhaps as a time to grow in our psycho-spiritual life? How do we want to look back on this time in terms of our response? Did we crumble in the face of the anxiety? Did we become greedy? There's plenty of greed out there. There is absolutely no oversight of the $2 trillion that are being distributed by the federal government. No oversight at all. Sad. Greed. Hatred. Do we move into fearing and hating the other people that are ahead of us in line waiting to get into the supermarket? Or do we practice opening our hearts? So the path of the Bodhisattva is the path of opening to everything that happens with as much compassion and love as we can, of converting the unskillful impulses that arise from inside us, being aware of them, bearing them, and then making choices that have to do with wisdom and kindness and compassion. And I know this is not an unusual notion for this crowd, but I hope to underline it today and to help us really feel good in the way we're going forward in this crisis. And because partly we have no idea how long it's going to go on. There's significant talk that the universities and even the schools may not be open next fall. That's big. I've been looking forward to getting to PIMC sooner than that, and I hope we can. So please join me in this guided meditation. Lie back in the arms of love. Rest comfortably in your being right now. Notice the sounds around you. Receive with open-armed, fully hearted awareness the life of your body. This is a one-of-a-kind ever body Imagine that in 13 point some billion years of the universe existing. Yours is a one of a kind. Talking about acknowledging that we belong here. We are each here with the specific gifts and capacities that are needed at this time. Become aware of your heart, of your deep emotional processes. Embrace the mood which is present right now. Mood is a little difficult to attend to, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes quite clear. Mood is a phenomenon that occurs that tends to emotionally color experience. Embrace whatever mood is here. Come into the body and notice the life that exists in what you think of as your feet, your legs, your pelvis, the back. The life that extends from the pubic bone to the abdomen to the chest, the neck. The life of hands, fingers, forearms, upper arms, shoulders, the neck and the face. The lips and the cheeks and the eyes, the scalp. This is your vehicle, your earth suit for this entire lifetime. It has served you well. It is unstable, it is a living organism, it's subject to sickness, it's subject to broken bones. It's provided you with just enough suffering, just enough discomfort that you have become in this lifetime curious about the question, who am I? What am I? Who am I? I invite you to think back over your lifetime, to the story of your birth, the constellation of your family, the stories about your childhood. Think about particularly the difficult times. It's been pretty hard to live in this body, in this consciousness, all this time. There have been betrayals and losses, injuries, sickness, and the natural flow of coming and going. All of these have provided quite adequate suffering to get your attention. On the other hand, think back to the grace that's come with your lifetime. Think of the persons who have loved you, who taught you how to love. Think about the pets you've had who may have come and gone, but who brought you joy and a sense of belonging and connection. Think of the teachers you've had. Think of the unbroken supply of food, of medical care, of shelter. Think of the adventures, the vacations, the learning opportunities. And imagine that you're meeting yourself and loving yourself. Perhaps using the great mantra, I love you, with yourself. Recognize the great quality of love and acceptance which is in you, which you've been developing your whole lifetime. This is the great metta, the great openness of heart. And meet yourself. Recognize all the suffering that there's been and is and that will come, the difficulties that will come. And let your heart open into the great compassion, karuna, the heart's natural trembling when faced with suffering. Self-compassion. And think of the delights that have occurred and probably are continuing to occur in your life. And take delight in them. Let a smile come to your face. You've had so many pleasant, richly rewarding experiences in this lifetime. Honor them. All part of your education. And finally, find that place of equanimity in which everything that has happened, that is happening, and that will happen, is exactly as it is, with no need to change it. It's that place of warm-hearted, objective awareness. And please now imagine that you are back before your birth. We don't really know how this birth, death, coming into being, going out of being works. But we do know that something very mysterious happened in that you were conceived and you were born. And you've gone through all these decades of somebody training to become somebody. Please consider the notion that your presence here in this time and place is essential. In the great web of interbeing, we each are responsible for the pieces of the web that we can reach. This is our sphere of influence. There are the people you know. There are the communication networks you're part of. There are your friends near and far. There are your family members. Consider the fact that you are a bodhisattva. On the brink of full awakening, you've decided, I will continue to live among suffering humanity, suffering animals. I will continue to be born in order to clarify, to purify my paramis, my good qualities, and to help. Let go of the notion that you're just some little person somewhere with little influence, and realize that you are the luminous bodhisattva. All it takes is realizing the truth, that you are the bearer of extraordinary awakeness. You have the capacity to notice thoughts and feelings when they arise. You have the capacity to observe the words you're about to speak or write. You have the capacity to observe moods. You have the capacity to cry, to rage, to turn inward and feel all the normal, natural human feelings. And then to contain them, to use their energy to bring into your devoted work for the benefit of all beings. As you imagine looking out into the world to your loved ones or others, notice that the loving can be almost unbearable. It's so huge. It's so effortless. And as a bodhisattva, you discover that you love everyone, not just the chosen few. You have compassion for everyone. This compassion extends even to those who appear to be causing great harm by their actions, because you can see them as ignorance. They simply know no better. And so your heart opens in compassion. And you meet others sometimes and see their joy, and you support their joy, and you support your own joy. You don't get caught in being morose. You realize this is the moment of life right now. Perhaps it's a moment to dance or sing, or write a poem about beauty. And as this awakening bodhisattva, you also have infinite equanimity. In the face of the vicissitudes of life, the constant change, the birth and death, the success and failure, the sickness and health, the fame and disrepute, and economic security and economic insecurity. Rest in the beauty of your own being. There is no way to control these outer phenomena. However, you can rest in this field of awareness which is your true home. observing how everything comes into being and goes out of being. Letting your abdomen and chest relax. Recognizing there's no control over any of it. But there's this intention that you take. I vow to serve all beings. I vow to make the happiness and welfare of all my highest aspiration. And so let us stand up internally and take our place among all the other bodhisattvas, converting the fears and anguish and uncertainty into love and compassion. Let's not stay entranced by our personality. Do let us embrace it, support ourselves, do the work we need to do to grieve our grief and open our hearts fully. Now feeling this body that is your gift for a lifetime. Feeling it in its aliveness. And bringing awareness now into the face, into the eyes, and then letting your eyes slowly open, realizing the intention and effort required to raise the eyelids, and then seeing. And for those of you on Zoom, the seeing will be either to my face, large on the screen, or to a bunch of slightly larger than postage stamp little windows. Pick one of those windows to look at. This person represented here won't know you're looking at them. But notice that they are there as a person. And notice what's at your end. What's at your end is an infinitely vast field of awareness. Richard Lang was with us yesterday. And he did things like, you are there, you're a face, you're a being over there, and I contain you. I am that which knows of your relative existence. Softening back into that's the vision of the Bodhisattva. Seeing, we could also call it love. It's not schmaltzy love, it's, ah yes, this is. Awakening is no more than, it's no further away than here. It's just that we tend to forget. We imagine we have a self and we're interaction and there's worries and plans and desires and hopes and so on, and we shrink down and we think, oh, this is me, when in fact what we are is that which contains them all. We are that which knows them. And it's such a relief even to remember that for a second. I will post to the listserv today, or actually you could do this yourselves when I think of it. Go to YouTube, type in Joanna Macy Shambhala Warrior, and watch the 9-minute version. Shambhala Warrior. It's a prophecy that she was taught by a Tibetan teacher about how there will come a time when there's great peril in the world, and that we will be called upon to be Shambhala warriors and to wake up right in the belly of the beast and to dismantle the greed, hatred, and ignorance, to dismantle the military, to dismantle so many ways that we are fearful of each other, the military-industrial complex, and much more. And not as us and them, but we are them. It is us. And that's very hopeful because, as she says very beautifully, these phenomena that are creating the climate crisis, which hasn't gone away because we're in COVID land. It's Manu Maya, I think the Tibetans said, which is their mind created. And because they're mind created, we can dismantle them with our minds. So it's a very hopeful and encouraging video, and I hope you'll take a look at it. Someone just posted it to the chat.
Hey, Robert.
I hear someone. Vic.
Do we want to try playing that and broadcasting this on Zoom again, by any chance?
I don't think so. The sound's not going to work very well.
Yeah, I think if you were to broadcast that directly from the laptop, that should work. If you want to try that, we can try it once. Otherwise, if it's too difficult...
I think I don't want to now, Vic, though thank you. So, and the reason for that is I want to be sure to open up to our community and for the sharing that of which we're capable. And just a suggestion might be, how does it feel to you to realize that you are a bodhisattva, that you have incredible power to bring love and compassion and wisdom into the world? So I invite you in just a second to those of you on the other media, please listen in as best you can. Thank you. And come join us on Zoom next time. Okay, I'm open to anyone who would like to speak to that.
Robert,
Yes.
I would like to do it. Joan, sure.
Hi, Joan.
I attended a Dharma talk yesterday online, taking place at the Love Serve Foundation from Ram Dass.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things that the woman said who was speaking, it's not going to be one person, it's going to be a Sangha. It's going to, and I thought that went along so well with what you just said. It's all of us as a group that's going to make a difference.
Yep. Yeah, Thich Nhat Hanh has said that the next Buddha will not come as a person. She will come as a collectivity. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Robert. I just want to say something.
Hi, Allison.
Hi. I loved being a bodhisattva for a few minutes. Felt really good. It just brings me to tears. I feel like I got a little touch of that, and it was such a relief not to suffer so much.
Mm.
And to feel love and being open to everything, not just my own beliefs and my own experiences. And so I'm going to take that with me, and that feeling that I had during that meditation was very powerful. I really needed it. I needed to have that. Getting so caught up in my own suffering and relationships with grandchildren that are you know, off the rails right now and that sort of thing. It doesn't have to be such suffering for me. And it's so much bigger. It's so much bigger than that. And so thank you. I want to, in our Sangha, it takes a Sangha. And that's who we are. So,
Allison, I want to encourage you to not believe the story that experience happened back then, because it's right here, right now, anytime you tune in.
Thank you. I will.
It's just what's here now. And then we are tuned into that bodhisattva energy.
Yeah. Good.
Marcy, can you push your space bar or click your... Let me see. Where's Marcy? There you are. You're open, I think. You can speak, Marcy.
Okay, can you hear me?
Very, very faint.
Oh gosh. I don't know. Can you hear me better?
That's better. Yeah, just move closer to your whatever you're using.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you very much for the guided experience of being a bodhisattva. It was a powerful experience for me, and gave me some valuable, I think, information and insight that I could sit with more. And it was a healing experience, and I really appreciate that. I also, on a different note, I ran into some words recently of Thich Nhat Hanh about Sangha. May I share them? It's brief.
Sure.
It's from Friends on the Path, Living Spiritual Communities. And he says, the trees, water, air, birds, and so on can all be members of our Sangha. A beautiful walking path may be part of our Sangha. A good cushion can be also. When you allow yourself to be in a Sangha, the way a drop of water allows itself to be in a river, the energy of the Sangha can penetrate into you, and transformation and healing will become possible. And I just think it speaks so beautifully to sort of the approach also that Joanna Macy takes. And I love that you mentioned her today. So thank you very much, Robert.
Thanks, Marcy.
Robert, can I say something?
Sure.
It's Karen.
Oh, hi, Karen.
Hey, Robert. During your Dharma talk, you were talking about not suffering and to accept things the way they are. And that really resonated because last night I was watching the Global Citizens concert online, and the Rolling Stones did You Can't Always Get What You Want. And I just thought that is such a perfect song for what we need to hear right now. And it's kind of like in the every person's language that everybody can understand. And I so appreciated their choice. And for those of you who haven't seen it, you can probably see it online, but they were all separate. The Rolling Stones were separate on Zoom, and they were playing together. And it was just wonderful. I really loved it, but it reminded me, yeah, none of us are getting everything we want right now.
We never do, though some more privileged get more of an approximation, but we never do. And then you never know when the rug's going to go, Shh, pandemic.
Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, well, thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Karen. Karen in her Zen house on the bank of Lake Sammamish. Hello, Gary Sanders. I see you there.
Hi.
Hello.
I love you, Robert.
I love you too. What a good friend you are.
I'm so blessed that to be part of the Sangha and to be connected with you and Ruth and Upa Ken, and just super grateful. The thing I've been thinking about a lot is, this is what we're training for. That maybe some of us came to meditation because we wanted to experience a little less stress, but for so many of us, we showed up to Dharma halls, we showed up to meditation groups because we were desperate. We were suffering so much. And it's not just stress relief. It's not just a little bit of happiness. We're training to experience equanimity in the midst of chaos. So, we're experiencing groundlessness right now. We're always experiencing groundlessness. We don't know what's going to happen with this pandemic. We don't know how anything is going to happen the next moment, the next day, the next week. So, and the fact is, we get to do this together. Just this format of Zoom. That we get to connect with all these different people. That whether we're maybe physically we're all alone in our house, but we're all doing this together. Which reminds me of, I love Ram Dass's line, we're all just walking each other home.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So it's an incredible blessing to be able to walk with you all.
Hi to Alex, too.
She says hi.
Susan, you have your hand up. Please unmute and come in. I'll look for you, Susan. Where are you? There we go. Oh, unmute. Oh, I guess I can't for some reason. Huh. Okay. Anybody else, please? Finding our way home together, walking each other home.
Dave Brown.
Oh, David. I see you, David. Hi, David.
There we go. Hi.
Hello.
I'm doing all right. I was just wondering though if anyone else is a little intimidated by the idea that we're going to be these bodhisattvas. I can't even take care of myself. I gotta hold everybody else too. It's a little overwhelming.
Well, I think the task of the bodhisattva is to start with oneself as well. It's not about, I won't take care of this one. It's, I will take care of this one, and in this one are all beings. It's really, for me, it's a movement out of self-pity. It's so hard and this and that. Well, of course it's hard. We're on a major campaign. We're doing something really important, and we're each carrying our little backpack full of our own stuff to our own personal stuff to solve, and then as we can do that, then we can help somebody else a little bit with a phone call. Or it's not about becoming someone superhuman, it's about really becoming the foundation of who we are. You know, whenever I see you on this screen, I always have a little rush of gratitude for all the work you did on the broadcasts when you were up there in the loft. Really, every time I see you, it's like, and that's a way you've contributed to my life being better. Not just then, but also today when I see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing it, and I'm glad I could help.
You did. And you will again.
Can I speak? I'm
Sure.
Tally.
Hi, Tally.
Dave, I just want to say that what you just said kind of resonates with me. I'll try not to cry, I may.
Crying is allowed.
Yeah. A lot of that these days.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to say about that is just that I think for me personally, realizing that that the work of actually allowing me to kind of tend to myself was the first 45 years of my life. Like getting to the place of feeling that that is okay, and not to take care of the people around, right? The things out there, the people, the problems. And so I think that work is actually the most important work for people who, for me at least, I should just speak for myself. And in doing, and finally kind of believing that that's a good thing to do, that I'm worthy of that, and that that is the path to being able to help, maybe be part of helping others, you know, it's so clear and obvious now, you know, to me, but it took me so long to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
And to believe that is worthy work. And I really credit the Buddha and coming to, you know, this Sangha and Robert and many others that I, you know, seek out, but this in particular, you know, just that permission and encouragement to say I am the source, actually. And by doing that inner work, all the other things just kind of fall into place. I'm not finished with my path by any stretch, but you know, but I just want to honor that in my experience and hope that may help.
Thank you. You look to be in a very comfy spot there with, I think I see purple flowers over here. It looks nice.
Robert and Sangha, good morning. Peter?
Hello, Peter.
Do I sound like a chipmunk this morning? Or?
No, I missed the chipmunk sound.
I did too. So I'm just thinking of the starfish story right now, in terms of making a difference.
The what story?
The starfish story.
No, I don't know the story.
Oh, it's the story of a man walking on a beach, and
oh yeah.
In the distance you could see the little girl was picking up starfish,
Mm-hmm.
and he says, "What difference can you possibly make? All these starfish, miles and miles of beaches," and she throws one into the sea and said, "You made a difference to this."
Yeah. Nice. Thanks, Peter.
Hi, Robert. It's Tiffany.
Tiffany and Bryce, hello.
Hello. Oh, this is just so wonderful. Hi, Sangha. It's so good to see all of you. Hi. Yay! This is really timely for me, Robert. I this week discovered that my kirtan teacher is doing every single morning. He is doing teachings and leading meditation and
Wow.
kirtan,
Huh.
and it's just been really lovely because it puts me right in my heart space first thing in the morning, and this reminder that I'm here to serve. I'm here to spread love as far and wide as I can, and or as like small and intimately as I can, just depending on what the day brings to me. It's so important. I've found my journey so far in the coronavirus first brought me through a bunch of, leaning on old habits, and then recognizing that, and then kind of coming out of that, and now really forging some new habits that are really serving me, are really putting me in a loving place, in a place to just be. And it's hard to put words to, actually, but I'm in gratitude a lot, and I'm feeling that this morning, and I really appreciate what you just led us through, and feeling a lot of love for everyone right now. So thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Isn't it wonderful to get to visit people in their homes? It's such a kick. I love it.
What I'm thinking of right now is that as long as this feels as it's gone on and feels like it's going to go on, it will be over someday, and things will change. Things will be different. Maybe things will be different in a positive way. Who knows, really? But it's not forever. But it's still wonderful to be with all of you here too. So thanks for all who make this happen, which is every single one of you.
Thanks, David. I guess I'd like to share that my lovely daughter Tara landed in Newark last night, or this morning. Was met by a friend who took her and all her gear to her new unfurnished apartment. And people are coming together to get all the things that she needs so that she can start her work at the hospital tomorrow. Quite wonderful how it's possible for us to move toward what's needed. That we humans have the capacity to sense. When the baby cries, we go and help the baby. When our partners cut their hand or something, we move toward them. It's something so natural in us. Some of you, I did the mask hunt for Tara before she left, and I had a little over 40 N95 masks that she got to go with. So that's a good stash to start her time there of 13 weeks. Thank you. So anybody else? Please. I guess I'll read this. Lots of silence here. It's, being the Bodhisattva doesn't mean that we don't have needs or we don't take care of ourselves. There's a little story here. I don't have an attribution of where it came from. The story goes that once a cobra was so impressed by the gentleness of a monk who lived in a forest hermitage nearby that he asked to become his disciple. The monk agreed, and knowing that snakes can be quick-tempered, thought it appropriate to teach him metta, loving-kindness meditation. The cobra proved to be a good student, meditating regularly and becoming more good-natured as a result. One day, while basking in the sun, he noticed a woman nearby collecting sticks for the household fire. Rather than slither away or stand erect with his hood open so as to scare her, as had been his habit, he decided to remain where he was and radiate metta to the woman. She got closer and closer until she had collected enough sticks, and then began looking around for something to tie them up with. Seeing the cobra and mistaking him for a piece of vine, she picked him up by the tail, gave him a violent flick, wrapped him several times around the sticks, pulled him tight, and then tied him in a knot. Then she put the bundle on her head and walked home. When she got there, she untied the vine and threw it away. Battered, bent, and wincing with pain, the poor cobra made his way back to the hermitage and told the monk what had happened. Quote, "You tell me to cultivate metta, and this is what I get for it," he complained mournfully. The monk replied, "Just because you have metta doesn't mean you can't sometimes hiss." All right, dear friends, shall we pause? Any last something on the heart that you'd like to share? We're certainly an open receptacle for anything from anyone.
Robert?
Jonas.
Hi.
Hello.
I don't even know why it came up, but I was reading the Heart Sutra, Thich Nhat Hanh's version, The Other Shore. And I got to the part, we talked about the part, where you should go to the charnel grounds 9 times or something. So last Sunday, I know it sounds strange, but I actually went to the Pioneer Cemetery here in Eugene. And I did a walking meditation through it. And what was interesting at first was the fact that so many of the tombstones were from 1918. Yes, so I realized that, that was, and it was interesting because it was somewhat saddening at first, because you'd see these people who had literally walked across this nation, got to here, and then passed away in a pandemic. And then I started to sit, and there was there's a GAR, the Grand Army of the Republic. They had a whole space for people who had been related. And then I sat down and I started to just meditate on, as we had talked, just on one stone. And it was a woman, and I started to think about her birth, and then her loves, and her dancing, and then these big crinoline dresses, and on and on and on. And then I got to the point where I actually started to think about my own life, and one of the experiences I had early on in my life was working at Peter Ben Brigham. And it brought me to real impermanence, because I had been talking to someone one night, and the next morning someone asked me that I had volunteered to work in the morgue, and that the first body I had ever got to eviscerate was the person I'd been talking to the night before.
Wow.
And I was standing there with an Afghani doctor who they don't get because of their religion. He was here because they don't get to actually work with cadavers.
Mm-hmm.
And we were working there together, and this was the first one he'd ever worked on. And we got to talk about this person's life and his loves and his aspirations, and here we are discussing this person and having had his last conversation with me. I don't know why I'm going there this morning, but it's actually enlivening. I don't find, you know what I mean?
But such practices are very central to Buddhist practice. There's a lot of meditations on the body and the 10 stages of decay and the 32 parts of the body, and that the idea being not to create disgust but to create wisdom about this, that this is not fundamentally who we are, and we're so attached to them.
Right. I actually have to, I don't know about anyone else in the Sangha, but I have trouble when you say, being a bodhisattva, because it's like, oh, that sounds, it's an attack on my humility.
Maybe a bodhisattva is has profound humility.
I don't know.
I don't think a bodhisattva goes around saying, I'm a great bodhisattva, you should be thanking me more. I don't think that's common.
Yeah, I guess.
All right. Thank you. Nice to see you.
Take care.
When I bicycle to work, which I did the other day for the first time in many months, I ride down through the cemetery, and I commonly sing to the dead. And I sing loudly and hello, dead, I'll see you soon. And one time last summer, I was whistling down through it, and all of a sudden I came around a corner, and there was a fairly large group of people. Here was this madman singing to the dead. I actually got all blushed and funny.
Hello.
David back.
Thank you for sharing that story, Jonas. That's close to me. I think about death a lot, and I've been searching out how to find that connection, because beyond a graveyard, we don't really have trial grounds unless you do specialty work like that. I have been exploring books. There's a book called Smoke Gets in Your Eyes by Caitlin Doherty that she went to work in a crematorium, and she actually has a rather phenomenal career after that if you look up the Order of the Good Death. But does anybody else have any suggestions, ways they've explored that, or books they've read, or anything like that? I have explored a few other books just about people who have worked as medical.
Robert, there is that book the name escapes me, of the hospice worker, that we read together.
Oh, the 5 invitations.
Yes, the 5 invitations.
The 5 invitations is a must read for that kind of thing, sure.
Beautiful.
Thank you,
book.
Danny.
Absolutely.
Also, the book Being Mortal is good.
Atul Gawande, beautiful book. Yes.
Yeah.
I have a question, Robert, for kind of for you and for the Sangha to just kind of as a meditation to sort of carry with you as we are experiencing this different reality and a different way to kind of interact with our daily hours. The question I pose is one of making new agreements, one of shaping a new normal. And the question is, what will you carry from this time into what's next? As a practice, as a reshaping, as a sloughing off of the old skin of a snake. What stays behind, what fosters anew, and what conscious action can we individually put into making that new shape?
Well, we certainly can make intentions. What is it that what would I like to bring out of this? That's one thing we can do. And fundamentally, I don't think we really ever can know. I say to people on retreat, we're in a radically altered state of consciousness. It seems normal, but it's not. And the only way we'll know how and who we have become is when we enter back into our, quote, normal world, when we enter back into our relationships. But it's a worthy thought to how, and that's the aspiration of the Bodhisattva, to become wiser, more loving, and more compassionate. That's one that I rest in. The shorthand for me is I want to be a Buddha when I grow up.
A noble path indeed.
Right. Well, we've reached noon. Is anybody sitting with something that it would be wise, skillful, loving to speak? So that being said, let us close with our usual chant and have a lovely day, dear friends.
Would you be here? I don't know.
May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy.